Got it. Right. Let me share my screen, guys. So this is how it is going to work. Okay. That is called your group login. Okay. So your group login concept is like this. So usually we'll encourage group logins only because of lengthy process, because of difficult process. Okay. Again, if if we know this, okay, left the organization, again I have to remove, the account from all the 100 machines or 1,000 machines. Okay. uh, if you go for individual security, if you go for group security, I'll remove Vinod from this group so that he cannot log into any of the 100 machines. Okay, so only one time I'll remove. Here in this process 100 times will remove, in this process one time will remove. Okay, so it's a difficult process and okay, lengthy process as well, right? So that is how the group logins are going to work, guys. Okay, let me connect to the server. Vinod, you are doing something on my screen. This bar you can drag like this if you have any while sharing the screen usually. Okay, you will have these kind of issues while sharing the screen. Okay, even in your organization also we usually share the screen, okay, with our colleagues, right, in the teams and all. Then we'll have an issue with this one. Okay, this kind of bar. Okay, you can drag like this, right? Okay, let's connect to our management studio. So in the last class we discussed about SQL login, Windows login, group login. Okay, so all these things we discussed. So how to give access to any login on any database we'll discuss. Okay, how to give access to any login on any database. Okay, so we have roles also, we have server roles, we have database roles. Okay, so we'll discuss those roles also, what these roles will do. Okay, role means it's a kind of group, guys, same group, same as it is like this, whatever we discussed for the group. Okay, role means one group of permissions is called one role. Here you can see persons, right? Okay, so role means group of permissions. Role means group of permissions. We have server roles, we have database roles. Server roles means server level permissions are grouped together. Database roles means database level permissions are grouped together. Okay, I'll explain about the roles as well. Let's continue and SSMS, right? Chalo. So what is the process of giving the access, guys? If anyone comes to you and if anyone asks, hey, can you please give me the process, we cannot give the, I mean, sorry, can you please give me the access on this database? I need read access, I need select permissions access, I need insert update delete permissions, can you please give me the access? If anyone comes to you and if anyone asks like that, you cannot give the access. There is a process for that. Ask them to raise a ticket first. Okay, you should have a ticket. First of all, proper ticket should be there. Why? Because security related you cannot compromise. If he is not authorized person to access, can you give access to him?
No.
No, right? It's very difficult thing. It's very difficult thing. Your phone, of course, you know the value of your phone. Lot of secrets will be there. So if anyone comes to you, hey, okay, Srinivas, please give your phone to my friend. Okay, he's going to check. Okay, your phone like that. Are you interested in that? No. Lot of sensitive information will be there. Lot of data will be there in your phone. How can you give like that? Okay, in the same way, how can I give access to any database or any table to any person? There should be a proper protocol. Okay, so he has to raise a request first of all. That person who is seeking the permissions, he has to raise a request using ticketing tools. Okay, he has to raise a ticket. Request means a ticket. He has to raise a ticket. I need on someone on so and so server, so and so database, so and so table. I need so and so permissions. Guys, if anyone asking for permissions, you have to ask four questions, guys. Four questions. On which server you need the permission. Sometimes people will raise the ticket with incomplete details. No details will be there. Simply, I need read permissions. Okay, I need read permissions on. They don't even give the database also. Okay, so simply in the ticket they will mention I need read permissions. So now tell me, guys, what kind of questions you will get if anyone is asking read permissions. What kind of questions you will get in your mind? Tell me. Simply you got a ticket like this also will get the tickets, guys. Like this also will get the tickets sometimes in the organization. What will be your
First,
next questions? Yes, tell me.
first we need which SQL server we need
Very good.
permission.
What is the server name? On which server name you need the access? Next.
Next to database,
On which
Database,
database
which
name you
database?
need the access? Next.
which permissions, read and write
Very good.
permissions.
What kind of permissions you need? Next. Very good. What
Next,
on what tables you need the permissions? Next.
you want master permission or something?
Yeah, what kind of permission? What kind of permissions?
Windows or server level.
Okay, Windows authentication or SQL authentication. Okay, very good. Windows or SQL. Okay, next. Next, you will ask one more. You have to ask one more important question. To which
Tickets.
account? To which account? Of course, we have ticket. Okay. Now ticket is there. Okay. To which account? For example, you just call to internet ISP, your internet service provider, and you call to them now. You just call to them, and one customer care executive lifted your call. Okay, and you are saying I'm not getting the internet. Okay, that's fine. To which account you are not getting? You have two internets. Imagine you have two internets. Okay, to which account you are not getting the internet? You have to mention the account, right? Account number or name, whatever it might be. So, in the same way, in the organization, employees will have different accounts. Okay, so to which username I have to give the access? What is the username I have to give the access? IP address here you can mention server name or IP address. Okay, if you know anything, that's fine. Now I am connecting using IP address, right, to this server. In the same way, I can connect to the same server using server name also. Okay, fine. So these things you have to ask, guys. If you don't see these, okay, details in the ticket, you have to ask. And finally, very important is approvals from the manager. Okay, so their manager means not your database manager. Okay, manager means those who are, I told you, right, for every server manager will be there, server manager or application manager. Okay, so if you want to do anything on the server, you have to take approvals from him. In the same way, imagine, okay, imagine Jayesh wants to access, Jayesh is a developer, imagine Jayesh wants to access sales table, sales database. In the sales database he wants to access sales table. Okay, sales table. So Jayesh is a developer. Now Jayesh is asking, okay, I need access on this sales table, sales database, okay, and so server, like that he's asking. Okay, so and so server name he is asking. So that's fine, every details are there, we have details, complete details are there. Yes, he has to send an email. I'll explain. Okay, nothing to worry. Now imagine, okay, who is there here? Imagine Raju is the DBA. Jayesh raised a ticket. Jayesh is a developer. He raised a ticket. Hey, Raju. He don't mention about the Raju. Okay, hey DBA team, I need permission on the sales database, sales table. This is the server name, like that. I need read permissions. He just mentioned he need read permissions. He need read permissions on the table. Okay, so everything is clear. Jayesh mentioned everything properly. Okay, no problem. But what Raju has to do, next step is Raju has to ask, hey Jayesh, I need application manager approvals. What Jayesh has to do, Jayesh has to send, okay, an email. Usually his manager will be the application manager. Jayesh has to send an email to the manager, okay, seeking for permissions. Please approve this, okay, activity. I need permissions on sales database, sales table, read permissions on this particular table. So then Jayesh manager, okay, whoever it is, imagine Jayesh manager is imagine Sampath. Okay, Sampath. Jayesh manages Sampath. Then Sampath has to approve Jayesh's request first. Why? Because sometimes what happened, Sampath only can decide whether Jayesh can read the table or not. Sampath knows what is the Jayesh work, whether really he needs permissions or not. Some people simply they will raise the permissions, they will request the permissions, but their manager knows whether they really need the permissions or not. So Sampath will cross verify with Jayesh. Hey Jayesh, why you want access on the particular table? Okay, then if Sampath is happy with the Jayesh response, then Sampath will approve the Jayesh response. Then Jayesh has to send approval email to Raju. Then only Raju has to give permissions to Jayesh. This is the process, guys. Simply, if anyone is looking for permissions, make sure you have approvals from their manager. This is the only one point you have to remember. If anyone is seeking for permissions, make sure you have a proper approvals from their manager. Apart from all these things, ticket and all, apart from all these things, okay, make sure a proper approval. Without approval, don't give access to anyone. This is very important. If you give access, if something happened, if Jayesh did something, Raju didn't ask the approvals, Raju missed that step, Raju didn't ask about the approvals. If something happened, Jayesh did something, I might be deleted the records, or he just read the sensitive information about the employee salaries and all, then Raju is the responsible person. Why? Because without taking the approvals, Raju gave the, without looking for the approval email from Jayesh manager, Raju give the access to the table. So Raju is the, okay, responsible. He has to justify why he gave the access without approvals. Okay, so this is the process in the organization, guys. So if anyone is asking for permission, apart from all these things, server name, table name, database name, okay, user name, apart from all these things, make sure that user is having approvals to read or write or update or delete, okay, the data. Until then, if you don't have approvals, please, you can ask them gently, hey, can you please provide me the approvals from your manager so that I can give you the access. Okay, so they have to get the approvals from their manager. They have to include us in the CC. So once they have added in the CC, we can see the manager is approved. So we can happily give the access. Now, if something happened, your manager is not your manager, that application manager, Jayesh manager is responsible. Sampath is responsible. If Jayesh did something, Sampath is responsible. Why? Because Sampath only asked, approved this activity. So who approved? Okay, they are the responsible persons, guys. Is it clear, everyone? The process giving permissions in the organization, is it clear?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so let's go to okay, done. Okay, so now let's give the access to any login on any database. Yesterday we discussed how to create the logins. Okay, how to create the logins and all, yesterday we discussed. Now if Anil is, okay, looking for permissions, if Anil wants to access any database, how Anil can access any database? Okay, if login is there, you can double click on the login. If login is not there, you have to create the login. Okay, don't ask, sir, Suresh is looking for permissions, how to give access to Suresh? There is no Suresh here in this list. You have to first create Suresh login, then you have to give access, right? If persons are not there, first you have to create them, then you have to give access. If already there, you can double click on the login. So Anil wants to access any database, right? Double click on Anil. So go to user mapping. Okay, so Anil is having access on, already is having access on Flipkart and sales database. Okay, chalo, let's go to Vinod. Okay, any login, either SQL login or Windows login will give access like this only. Jayesh, I'll show you. Okay, we are going to discuss those things, right? So if Vinod is looking for permissions, so how to give permissions to Vinod on sales database or Flipkart database? Double click on Vinod. Okay, go to user mapping. See here, if you see, if any of the database is not checked, that means this Vinod doesn't have access on any of the database. But guys, there is a second option called server roles. I'll explain about this server roles today. Okay, but before doing that, I'm just showing you how to give access on any specific database and all. Okay, 1 minute, guys. Okay, so here if you go to server roles, again I'll explain what is bulk admin, what is DB creator. Server role means group of permissions, that's it. The bulk admin will have some set of permissions, DB creator will have some set of permissions. I'll explain what kind of permissions. Again if I gave sysadmin to Vinod, now no need to give access on any database. Why? Because he's a sysadmin. Sysadmin means he can do everything. Okay, but if he's not a sysadmin, okay, of course he's a member of public role by default. So because of default nature, every login is a member of public role. Okay, so if Vinod is only looking for a specific access on a database, then go to user mapping section. On which database Vinod is looking for access? Imagine on sales database he is looking for access. Select the database. Okay, here you have to give the schema, DBO schema. Default schema is DBO schema. Okay, now what kind of access he need, you can see here database roles. These are the database roles. If you select database, then only these roles will be highlighted, guys. If you select the database, then only these roles will be highlighted. If he needs reader permission, you have to give data reader permission. If he needs writer permission, you have to give data writer permissions. Writer means insert, update, delete. All are write operations only. So like that you have to give. So when you select the database, you can see the database roles. When you select the server roles, you can see the server level roles, guys. Okay, chalo. As of now, you have to give access to any login on any database like this. Okay, simply you will click OK. That's it. Simply you are going to click OK, guys. If anyone is asking permissions on a specific database, double click on the login name. If login name is already existed, say for example Vinod, okay, last month because of his work nature he need access on one database. Okay, so we have already created login for Vinod and we have already gave the access. Okay, next again Vinod come back to us, hey I need more permissions on different database. Again as Vinod login is already there, again no need to create Vinod login. For each permission we don't create login. Once the login entry is created, right, once the entry is created, then automatically you can, okay, automatically you can give access on different objects, right? So if you go to Amazon or Flipkart, if one account is there, you can watch Prime, you can shop in the Amazon. Okay, what is that for Amazon? Amazon, what is that, guys? Amazon, what is the pantry? Amazon pantry. You can do shopping in the Amazon pantry. So we don't need to create three accounts, right? One account only will give you access for the shopping, will give you access for Amazon pantry, will give you access for Amazon Prime. Okay, depends upon your requirements, we are going to give the access. In the same way, if already login is there, no need to create multiple logins for the same person, okay, for different permissions. Again, if already login existed, we will give the permissions for the same existing login. Okay, so this is how we'll give the access on any database, guys. Go to user mapping, select on which database is looking for permissions, give the DBO schema name and click OK. Now as of now I didn't give any access, guys. He can only enter into the database. No, we don't give any access to master database. Okay, we don't give any access to master database. No, for system databases, we don't give any access. Why he is going to read master database? What is the need? You are the responsible one. You are the DBA. You are the responsible one. You should have access to master database, not others. Okay, so no one will ask you, sir, please give me access on master database or model MSDB, TempDB. You can reject them. We can simply, you can reject them, you can deny them. Okay, no, we don't give access on system data. First of all, no one will ask you. If anyone asks like that, still if there is a chance, you can deny them. Okay, no need to give permissions on system databases. Okay, so this is how we'll give access on a database, guys. As of now, Vinod only can connect to sales database. That doesn't mean Vinod can see all the tables. No, I didn't give read permissions. If I give read permissions, then only Vinod can see tables. If I don't give any permissions, can't see any tables. Okay, so this is how you have to give access on any database to any login, guys. Chalo, let's go to the server role now. Server roles. What is the server role? Where I can see this? Expand the security. Minimize this. You can see server roles. Expand. Okay, you can see 8 plus 1 server role. 8 plus 1 server role, guys. Okay, what are those? Bulk admin, DB creator, disk admin, process admin, public, security admin, server admin, setup admin, sysadmin. Sysadmin is the highest privileged role. Sysadmin means he is the king of SQL Server. He can do anything. He can do anything. Okay, 8 plus 1 server roles we have. Why sir plus 1? Okay, this plus 1 is called a public. Please mute it. Public server role. You can see here. Public server role
Sir,
doesn't have any permissions. Yes, please.
sir,
Yes,
sir, I
please.
have a question. Sir, when you create a login, yeah,
Hmm.
you, on the login on that screen, you have that access to default database, right? So it is pointing to master. So what do we choose on that screen, sir? When you create a
Okay, while creating the login, you are saying, okay, this one.
yeah,
So by default, the where you can see pointing to the master
the default database at the bottom.
default database. Okay, so usually all the logins will be created in the master database only. Okay, if you are trying to connect, first you will connect to master only. Okay, that doesn't mean you are trying to access master database. Why? Because as discussed, master database properties, what we discussed, master database properties. Master will store all the information.
Stores
Master will store all the
login.
logins
All the
information,
data,
passwords
all the
information,
configuration.
correct configurations of SQL Server. Everything will be stored in the master, right? So whenever you create any login, automatically it will be connected to master. That doesn't mean in the master. Who is talking, guys? Okay, done, muted. Okay, so that means by default any login will connect to master. That's it. Okay, then from there depends upon his permissions. If we need access on sales or Flipkart or what database he is having access, then he can connect. So don't
Okay,
think master means in the master an entry will be created for this login.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Fine. Okay. 8 plus 1 server roles. Why 8 plus 1 means 1 is public server role, guys. Public means here you can see this public doesn't have any permissions. By default, public, you will get it automatically. But that role doesn't have any permission. First of all, role means group of permissions. Role means group of permissions. If it is a server role, group of server level permissions. If it is a database role, group of database level permissions. Group of permissions. Okay, you can call it as a role. If it is a server role, server level permissions. If it is a database role, database level permissions, guys. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
Sir, public means the existence of that particular login. That's it.
No, 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 no. See, public means whenever I create a dummy login. Okay, imagine I just created a simple login, dummy login. If I'm trying to create any login,
So dummy means
dummy means without having any permissions, you can treat it as a dummy. Okay. Yeah, dummy means just a login. I mean, forget about dummy word, okay? Not dummy, just a login, okay? So imagine SQL login. I'm just creating. Let's go with Jayesh this time, okay? I'm giving 123 password tab 123. As I'm giving a small password 123, I have to uncheck this. Otherwise, as per the password policy, it won't allow me to create a
right.
small password, okay? 123 password, right? If I click OK now, done. Now if I go to Jayesh, if I go to server roles, okay, by default he is a member of public role. So what this public role will have, how come a Jayesh can connect to the SQL server without having any permissions? How come? I didn't give any permissions to him. I just created a login for him.
Just for
But if
public.
I want to connect to a SQL server, I should have connect permission. How come Jayesh is able to connect? I didn't give connect permission, right? Just
Yeah.
because he's a member of public role. Okay, public role will have one permission, that is connect to SQL. So by default, public role will be assigned to Jayesh. Okay, whenever you create any new login, that all the new logins are part of the public role. Public role will have only one permission, that is connect to SQL. That you cannot uncheck. If you don't want, you cannot uncheck. That's why public role you cannot deallocate or uncheck.
This is a default setting. Yeah.
Correct. That is a default. Every login by default they are members of public role. That's why they are able to connect to the SQL servers. Okay.
Right, sir. So it's at the login end as well as at the server end as well.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Server roles and logins are server level entities, server level objects. Okay. Database roles and users are database level entities, database level objects, guys. Okay. Chalo. So role means, as discussed, a group of permissions. Each role will have some set of permissions. Bulk admin will have some set of permissions. DB creator will have some set of permissions. Disk admin, like that. Each role will have some set of permissions. Mostly we'll use sysadmin only, guys. We don't use any of these roles. 99.99% we don't use any of these roles. Okay. Mostly sysadmin or bulk admin, sometimes for bulk operations. Okay, so sysadmin means, he can do everything. Instead of giving permissions on each database, each object, okay, and on each level, if I give sysadmin, okay, he is authorized person to get the sysadmin access. If I give sysadmin in a single shot, you will get all the permissions. He can do everything in the SQL server level. Okay, so let's check what permissions are there for bulk admin. If you understood this concept clearly, group login, the same way server role also will behave. Okay, just replace these users with the help of permissions. Replace these users with permissions, guys. Okay, imagine, um, group means, I'm just saying, okay, you can group together, read permissions, write permissions, read, write, okay, delete. I'm just giving example. Okay, so you can group together these permissions and all, and you can name this group. Okay, read write group. I'm just giving name. Okay, read write group. Okay, so read write on any database, on specific database. Okay, read write on a specific table. Let's go for a specific table. Okay, so next time, if any of these persons or the whole group is looking for same permissions, okay, what you are going to do, instead of giving read permission, write permission, delete permission to this group three times, instead of giving permissions to this group, simply with all the permissions I'll create a group, or some groups already will be existed. Okay, so simply what I'm going to do, I'll add the group into the role. Okay, once I added the group or login, anything, not only group, either you can add group login or you can add a individual login also, no issues. Anything you can add. Okay, so if you add these people, okay, let's draw this one also. Whatever permissions are there in this group, okay, whatever permissions are there in this group, now this group will get, all these five members will get all these three permissions on the same table. Of course, this person also will get the permissions. Means role means simply a group of permissions. A group of permissions. If you add any person to that role, whatever permissions are there for that role, all the permissions will be, okay, implemented on that particular user. Instead of giving individual permissions, if I added him into the role, automatically whatever permissions are there for this role, you will get all the permissions. You can, okay, server roles means permissions are fixed. We cannot change the permissions. Okay, fixed server roles are there. Whatever you can see here, these 8 or 9, these are all fixed server roles. Means whatever permissions are there for this role are fixed. Okay, sir, you are saying permissions. First, let me show, sir. Let me see what permissions are there for bulk admin. Can you please show me? So for that we have a query. Okay, sp underscore srv role permission. Okay, this is the query, guys. uh, can you identify, guys, tell me what is the difference between this and this? Don't think too deep, just identify the difference between these two. Okay, so I'll only tell you. Okay, if you add yes, you can see black color. If you remove yes, you can see brown color. Can you identify this color, guys? Brown color it is. Okay, this is brown color. Brown color means, sometimes brown color means your stored process is correct. Black color means it's not correct. Okay, there is no permissions. Okay, it was changed, its color means it's correct one. Okay, Control Z. Right. So for which role I want to check? I want to check this role. Okay. Okay. Drag and drop this role, select it and execute it. Now you can see how many permissions are there, guys, to this role. How many? Two. How many entries are there? That many permissions are there, guys. That you have to remember. How many entries are there? Two entries, two records. Okay, means two permissions are there for this group, for this role. What are those two permissions? One is add member to bulk admin. Second one is bulk insert operations. Okay, so these two are fixed, guys. Sir, I don't like bulk insert. Can I remove this bulk insert permission from this role? That is not possible. That's why these roles are called fixed server roles. Why? Because the permissions are fixed. You cannot remove this role permission, or you cannot add a new permission to this role. These two permissions are fixed, guys, for this role. You cannot add extra permission to this role. You cannot remove the existing permission from this role. That is called fixed server roles. Only 8 plus 1, 9 fixed server roles are there. Means whatever permissions are there for each role, you cannot edit it. Okay. Now,
We
if I
can't customize.
you cannot customize for fixed server roles. You cannot customize. If you want customization, customized server roles are there like this. I want a specific permissions. Okay. You can customize the role. But these are default server roles you will get with the server. These server roles you cannot customize. No, no, sir, I don't like it. I want to create my own role with my own permissions. Yes, happily you can create. That is called customized server role. Whatever permissions you want, you can create all the permissions. Okay, you can group all the permissions and you can give the group name automatically. Okay, you will get the permissions. Just 1 minute, guys. I'll be back. Pradeep, what is this? TempDB is to process data now without giving permissions. How they can get the data? I did not get your questions, Pradeep. Question, Pradeep. Okay, chalo. Okay. So if you have any question, you can unmute and you can ask me. Right. So here bulk admin means if you want to see permissions of any role, this is the query. Okay, I want to see permissions of DB creator. Okay, you can drag DB creator and you can check the permissions. See here, how many permissions are there, guys? 8 permissions. How many records are there? That many permissions are there. Okay, you can see here 8 rows. 8 rows means 8 permissions are there. So you can see add member. If you observe any roles, this is the common permission, guys. For each role, this is the common permission. I'll explain about this, okay? And you can see alter database, create database, drop database, extend database, restore the log file, rename the database. If Anil, like this, we have Anil login, right? If Anil is a member of DB creator role, okay, if I want Anil can create the databases, Anil can drop the databases, Anil can rename the databases. Okay, if I think Anil has to do these things, I'll simply add Anil into the DB creator role. Okay, I'll simply add Anil into the DB creator role. So like that, whatever permissions are there, if you feel these permissions can be given to any person, these set of permissions can be given to any person, then you can simply add the login into the role. Okay, so let's go with bulk admin. Let me show you that bulk admin. So if you just drag and drop the bulk admin and if you execute, the person can do two things. One is add member to bulk admin, second one is bulk insert operations. Okay, listen carefully. Sysadmin, anyhow sysadmin can do everything. Okay, so listen carefully. Anyhow sysadmin can do everything. So I'll ask the question, you have to answer it. Anyhow sysadmin can do everything, right? So a member of this bulk admin role can do two things. One is he can add other login into this role. Member means login, guys, that's it. Member means simply login. Second thing is he can add bulk inserts. So you can ask, sir, only this member of bulk admin can add bulk inserts, no one can execute bulk inserts? Other than bulk admin member, who else can execute bulk inserts, guys?
Sysadmin.
Sysadmin. Please reconnect.
Sysadmin.
Please reconnect, guys. Please reconnect. Showing 1 minute.